what would be your top tips for any kind of young entrepreneur or just anyone that's trying to get into entrepreneurship and trying to leave the 9 to 5 world, so to speak? What would be your top tips for those who are thinking of becoming an entrepreneur?
I'll probably say yeah, definitely have a plan. Have a plan. I wouldn't say because I built my brand alongside having a job for a year before I went full time. So I'd say like have a backup plan, but then also just be smart and be strategic in terms of how effective you are with your time. I mean, because it's tough to just start a business and then not have anything as a backup because you have the time, but obviously you need the money to be able to survive as well. So I'd say make sure you have contingency plans, but then also in terms of being effective with building the business, it's good when you're passionate about it because then you're willing to put in the extra hours, willing to do the work. Because yeah, I've seen that grind of having a full-time job and running a business, and it's definitely not easy at all. So you have to have that sort of passion, and even in terms of why I started the brand, because when you're sort of moving with that purpose, it gives you that extra boost that you need because you're not always going to be motivated. So that's when the discipline needs to kick in, and what I mean, use that to then fuel your drive.
And how do you kind of source that discipline? Where does it come from, and what inspires you to get that discipline?
Um, just in terms of what I'm trying to build, and what I mean, like how I'm trying to motivate other people, and yeah, just trying to be a trendsetter. And I think it's partly habit as well because I think with my sports background and just training, especially even with like whether it's fitness or gym, I train regardless of how I feel. So I think I've just incorporated that into my sort of entrepreneurial journey. So no matter how I feel, I know okay, I still need to be putting in work because I have certain goals and certain ambition that I'm trying to achieve. So I still need to be disciplined within that.
Mm. And how has being an entrepreneur affected, say, your personal life? How have you found kind of like that work-life balance, or in your case, entrepreneurship life balance?
I'm not sure balance is even the word to be honest. Like, um, I don't know. I see my personal life within my work, if that makes sense.
Mm,
So especially when it's sportswear, and even like the people I'm collaborating with, a lot of them is my friends. You know what I mean? We're doing shoots and that kind of stuff. So I try and bring my personal life into the business.
mm,
In that sense, like especially like socially and stuff like that.
mm. And give me like a typical day. If you wake up in the morning, what is happening?
Um, no day is really the same. It just depends on what I'm trying to do. Because as I said, like I have other things as well. Where I have like my fitness platform. I do some work for Rock Nation Sports as well. So it just depends on what's on the schedule really. For like for instance for coming up with new designs at the moment. So first thing in the morning I'd pray, read my Bible, and then literally just look at my task for the day. I normally plan out my week on Sunday,
Mm,
so I have my task for the day, whatever day it is. Then start replying to emails, reaching out, speaking to my suppliers, people I'm collaborating with. Obviously now it's Black Pound Day, sort of the focus, so just updating the website, putting the new products on the website.
mm,
Um, yeah, if it's a shoot day, then I'll have a shoot. If I have some freelance work to do, I'll do that. So I wouldn't say I have like it's not as that structured, but I'll have my tasks and just literally try and get through them throughout the day.
okay. And so, from what you've just described, you're pretty much kind of like a one-man band. Um, at one point, do you recognize, okay, I think I need to bring someone on board now, as in like an employee?
I'm sort of getting to that point. I've started outsourcing, especially with in terms of production. So I've got someone who's helping me out with doing some designs and executing some designs.
Mm,
So that's helped me in terms of trying to scale. But I'm sure definitely I'm looking at that more seriously for next year for sure, in terms of maybe bringing someone on. Um, yeah.
and if you bring someone on, what part of the business do you think they will work on?
Um, I think it'd probably be the design for sure, because that's the most time consuming thing. Because just the whole process from design all the way to it being on the website, it's a very long process, especially if I
Mm,
want to be able to work on multiple collections at a time.
mm,
So I'll definitely need help within that whole process, basically. Yeah.
mm. And when you select that person, would it be someone who's quite experienced in that field, or would you be willing to take on someone who's maybe fresh out of uni but has studied maybe design, as an example?
Uh, Depends how good they are, to be honest. Because I'm I'm not necessarily an expert within that side of things, so I prefer to have an expert within that. But
Okay,
I sort of know kind of what I want, especially in terms of the designs and that kind of stuff. So it'll literally just be about someone who can execute that to the level that I can't.
okay, okay. So we're roughly about halfway now. So let's talk a bit about your fitness platform that you mentioned earlier. Just tell, for those of us who don't know what it is, and know nothing about it, tell us more about what the fitness platform is.
Yeah, so Fit for the Culture is just coming up to 3 years old. So I started that a year into starting YFit, and it was just kind of random, to be honest. Like I'd get YFit was just starting to grow. I'd literally just quit my job as an analyst to do YFit full time. Because at that time I was even getting like freelance work to do um clothing collections for other people as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that sort of made me think, okay, you know what, I need to really dive in and go full time with the business and be a full time entrepreneur. So it
Mm,
literally just happened at that moment, and it was literally because I get a lot of messages from sort of black fitness influencers who would DM YFit, and even though YFit wasn't that big, they'd be
mm,
asking to be like ambassadors, and you know they want to be uh, basically promote for the brand. A lot of time they're asking for free products, which obviously I couldn't necessarily facilitate at the time, but it kind of made me look at the fitness scene overall, because as I said, like I came from the more sport and football background, but especially with the emergence of social media and Instagram and the sort of fitness influencer culture, I didn't really know too much about. So when I was getting all these messages from these people, it kind of made me think, okay, like let me have a look at this side of things, and I
mm,
realized like fitness is its own thing. Like I say to people, like it's its own sport in a sense, because
mm,
you've got these influencers with humongous followings. You know what I mean, really engaged audiences. So that made me think, okay, wow. So then I'd look at sort of the big brands within that space, whether it's a Gymshark or those kind of brands, and at the time there wasn't a lot of diversity within those brands. So
mm,
it kind of made me think, okay, like trying to do that with YFit, but gradually growing. But it made me think, okay, do you know what? I want to create a fitness community for the black fitness community basically, and that's when I decided to start Fit for the Culture, and yeah, it got to 100,000 followers within 18 months, which sort of validated the need for just more diversity within the fitness scene. So it's literally just about a platform where whether you're working out in the gym or at home, once you tag the page, I'll repost it on the platform and just use it as like a sort of like a blog basically, where you can come
mm.
get workout inspiration, hear different people's journeys and stories, and sort of yeah, then grew that alongside YFit, and it then sort of became a business in itself.
Okay. And how have you found running that? How have you found running that platform, and what challenges have you come across the way?
Do you know what? It's very different because I say it's very good to have both, because I say like YFit takes up a lot of time and I literally have to create. You know what I mean? So that's the time consuming element of it. Whereas with Fit for the
Mm,
Culture, it's more a blog page where basically I'm reposting other people's content, and it's more community based. So it's almost like the people run it for themselves, almost kind of thing. I'm just there managing it,
mm,
um, which it can take a toll because obviously it's got quite a considerable number. So it does take time to select which post to post and repost, and I get a lot of messages on it and stuff like that, inquiries about promotion and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's good that they offset each other because they both help each other, because even on YFit, um I've managed to collaborate with influencers through Fit for the Culture, so they sort of help each other hand in hand.
mm. And how do you find the time? Because obviously that's basically two, as you said, two separate businesses. How have you found the time to kind of juggle the two?
I don't know. To be honest, it's just, as I said, it's just when you're passionate about it and I like literally enjoy doing it, just kind of make it work. To be honest, like I don't think okay, how am I gonna make this work at the end of the day? Because I think okay,
Mm.
I realize what my ambition is and my actions sort of need to match that. So I'll then need to put in the work to be able to get to my goals, basically. So just find the way, basically.
And just talk to me about the sacrifices that you've had to make in order to get to where you get to now. Because obviously, it's not a walk in the park, and Rome definitely isn't built in a day. So,
Mm.
just talk me through the kind of sacrifices that you've had to make in order to get to where you are now for
Um,
both ventures. That is.
yeah, like I say to people with Fit for the Culture, yes, almost 3 years old, and I've posted every single day. Like I haven't missed one day. Um, at the beginning, I remember I spent 5 or 6 hours literally reposting, um, collaborating, and because I remember Fit for the Culture, it took 6 months to get to 10K followers, and then from month 6 to month 18, it was on average getting 10K per month. So it's almost like that initial hard work. Once you put that in, it then can just happen just like that and take off.
Mm.
So because to be honest, I wouldn't say like, especially with Fit for the Culture, I wouldn't say I had sort of business goals with that one. It was more okay, build a community, and
Right.
even me myself, I want to be able to be like a go-to person within sort of the sports and fitness scene. So it
Right.
was just like a venture that I wanted to have basically, and yeah, the way it took off was just like okay, it sort of became a business organically in that
Okay.
sense, and I still run it like a community to be honest. So I say YFit is mainly the main thing that I really focus on, and then
Okay.
do Fit for the Culture on the side.
So we have one question that's come in. So someone says, as an entrepreneur, what content do you consume to help your personal growth? And you spoke about a network of entrepreneurs you are part of. How has that helped?
Um, I don't really consume that much, if that makes in terms of for my personal growth.
Do you
It's
read any books, or do you have maybe like a mentor? I was going to ask you about mentorship later, but actually this fits in quite well. So
I don't yeah I should read more to be honest. I'm more I don't know I say I'm more learn from experience. Where I
okay,
say is what I do is I try to have a lot of downtime. So like see, I enjoy watching football because when I'm in work, I like to be fully immersed in it. So the content that I'll consume will be like whether it's Netflix or watching football as my sort of downtime, and that helps me then grind harder when I do then work basically. And the second question
okay,
was the network.
hmm
Um, yeah, that's helped a lot. That's probably been the biggest help, just even in terms of actually my personal growth. So that's more connected to the first question, really. It's more learning from peers and other people. You know what I mean? Like Samuel at DESC is a prime example of that. I met through the network, and you know what I mean, gone to some of the events where that's helped me in terms of my entrepreneurial journey, things that I can learn, and even
mm,
just from other people how they run their businesses. So I'd say yeah, more the mentorship is more peer to peer rather than I don't have a specific mentor, but the network has definitely helped me open doors and collaborate with other people. Like for instance, the Metro article came through being a partner with Jammy, UK Jammy, which has been a really good blessing, and they do great things in terms of helping and supporting black businesses.
mm, okay. And so let's learn a bit about you as an individual. So you mentioned to me you're from East London. So how much has London influenced, you know, not only you as a person, but also, your business and what you produce as a business? Has London culture contributed to that in any way?
Yeah, a lot. I say definitely. It's definitely helped shaped how I am as a person. Just growing up in certain environments, being street smart. I think that's helped me as an entrepreneur for sure, and I think that's where I sort of get that skill set from. But also, I find it interesting because I remember growing up, like especially me and my friends, it's either football or music or the roads basically, and that's sort of the main three options that you see. And although like I believe in, you know what I mean, dreaming, you know what I mean, having big dreams, um, we should also be self-aware, because I think what I've learned, especially from my journey, is that I wanted to be a professional footballer, you know what I mean, like sort of all my friends, but my actions didn't match what I wanted to happen. So it was only when I went through my trials and tribulations that I realized, okay, I stumbled upon entrepreneurship and realized, okay, this is what I'm naturally gifted at. And
Mm,
really, it's just a slight pivot from what I wanted to do in the first place.
mm,
It's still based around sport. It's still based around my passion. So that's kind of what I want to almost show as a blueprint, especially with building YFit. Is okay, like you might not become Raheem Sterling or Ian Wright or one of those players, but you can build something, and you can build a company that sponsors those guys. You know what I mean? So
mm,
I think both being ambitious, but then also being self-aware, has been sort of the two things that have helped me the most.
mm.
Just trying to balance both of those.
And how much does self-evaluation come into this? And do you self-evaluate? And if you do, how often do you do it?
Um, I think all the time, really. I think life teaches you that, especially if you're open-minded enough to see that. Because as I said, like I wanted to be a footballer, and you know what I mean, I had a few professional trials. I had, you know what I mean, I was in America for a little bit on trial and stuff. But I realized like I could have probably made it if it wasn't for my health, but I realized that I probably would have been very average. You know what I mean? And I don't really want to be average. So I think it was a case of, okay, that's my dream, and I didn't really put in the work to get to that early on, and I didn't want to feel that sense of regret again. So when I decided to do YFit and sort of the business ventures, my goal was literally just to be the best at it. You know what I mean? And then things started to fall in place, because I feel like, especially when you have that mentality and your actions sort of match that, things start to really happen, and you start to sort of create that space for yourself.
Mm. And just thinking about 9 to 5 now, is that really kind of like so in the past? You can't even imagine doing that again.
Um, yeah, because to be honest, I didn't really have, I've only had like two 9 to 5s. Because even like my last sort of quote unquote 9 to 5 was at Rock Nation Sports, and
Mm.
that was I was full time there up until the corona hit, actually.
Okay.
So I saw that opportunity, but I saw it as a case of, okay, this will help me advance what I'm doing. So I'm not anti 9 to 5, especially in terms of the entrepreneurial journey, if it can help towards my, you know what I mean, long term goals. So
Yeah.
what being there did was help me build my network, help me learn, you know what I mean, because I saw how brand deals with the Nikes and with elite athletes work at that level. So that's
Mm.
helped me then, even that's probably, I'd say that's my sort of university of what I'm trying to do in the long term. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
I see 9 to 5 as an avenue to get to where you want. So I
Right.
think if it aligns with what you're trying to do, then go for it. You know what I mean? Because at that time when I got the job, I was full time. I'd been full time at YFit for 2 years,
Mm.
and I wasn't necessarily looking to go back into employment. But when I saw that particular opportunity, I knew that, okay, like it matches sort of my skill set and would be a great opportunity to then further what I'm trying to do long term.
So if, say, for example, a major brand like, say, Nike or Adidas or Elise came to you and said, "Look, we want to give you this amazing job of being like, I don't know, CFO or head of diversity or head of a particular part of their kind of brand or things that they produce." Is there no job in the world that could ever tempt you to go back into 9 to 5, or is this entrepreneurial journey like this is you and nothing could tempt you out of it
Um, I never like to just say a definitive no, but
again?
um, it literally would just depend, because especially like even like the Rock Nation job was very demanding. I'm still doing freelance work for them, but it's very demanding just in terms of the hours, and that then did take away from what I'm trying to do with YFit. So if it's a case where it takes away with what I'm trying to do with YFit, then I would say no. So it
Hmm.
just depends on the timing and the sort of the how much dedication I need for the job, because I like to be fully dedicated with whatever I do anyway. So I'd probably say I don't see myself going back to do a 9 to 5, if that makes sense. So,
Okay. And how does your family What do they think about your journey and what you've been doing, and how supportive have they been, and your friends, for example?
Oh, for sure. Like they've been amazing. You know what I mean, supporting me every step of the way. Obviously, like you know what I mean, you have African parents. You know what I mean, they might not understand maybe the entrepreneurial journey as much at the beginning, but when they start to see the results and they start to see you putting in the work, then you sort of quickly win them over with that. To be honest, but yeah, they've been amazing.
That's interesting that you say that because I think for a lot of African communities, entrepreneurship isn't necessarily something that's championed. And it's only just now, I think people are starting to warm up to the idea, as in, African parents now or African families are starting to warm up to the idea that it's not just a 9 to 5 and doctor, lawyer, engineer.
Yeah,
There are things that you can do and experience as an entrepreneur. And so, have you found that, with your family, so to speak, coming round, has that kind of helped you as an individual and helped your business just in terms of morale?
for sure. Because even me, like I think even just the term entrepreneurship, maybe it's not as understood as maybe it should be. Because me, I just see entrepreneurship. I see it as just someone just trying to create your own path. You know what I mean? I
Mm,
don't see it as okay. This is yeah, you create a business or you have a job. Because even for instance, like um, my dad came to the UK from Ghana,
mm,
trying to make his way in life. That's an entrepreneur for me. You know what I mean? So that's an entrepreneurial move basically. So I don't think it should be attached to okay, you having a business or you just having a 9 to 5. You know what I mean? I think it's more a spirit.
okay, I see what you mean. And so, um, with that, have your parents um, have your parents maybe encouraged other people in your family to do the same thing, or have you got like siblings, as an example, who are younger than you who are thinking about going into entrepreneurship?
Uh, yeah, I have siblings and they're not really interested. But I guess it just depends. You know what I mean? Because I just like say, you know what, follow your passion and you don't really know where it will lead you, you know what I mean? But as long as you sort of, I mean, follow that curiosity of trying to make it in life, then you never know because, you know what I mean? I found entrepreneurship in my mid 20s. So you never know, you know what I mean? Like, I haven't seen those signs with them at this stage, you know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
but who knows in the future? And if they want to do, then go down that path, then I'll certainly help them out.
I hear you. And so, when you were in school, did you ever think that you'd be where you are now in terms of not only being an entrepreneur, but also, being quite successful as you are so far?
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. I picture myself probably playing football. You know what I mean? So I guess yeah, I'm successful in a different way. So I
Mm,
always had a belief that I would be successful in whatever I do. So
mm.
it's literally just about finding. I didn't think it would happen like this though. So, but it's been a blessing. So yeah.
And what does success mean to you? How do you define success?
Um, I guess it's just waking up and doing what you're passionate about and having not to like no compromise to that. You know what I mean? Like just being able to do what you want whenever you want, having your own sort of creative freedom, being able to express yourself
Mm.
through, you know what I mean, what you do day to day. So yeah.
And with this kind of the different ventures that you're doing, is it a thing where you kind of want to build it to a point where it's amazing and then you sell it, or is it a thing where you want to almost be like a sportswear mogul, where you have different brands in different parts of the world?
I see YFit as sort of the legacy brand. I think that's one thing that I probably wouldn't sell, but I do see myself venturing it out and doing other things that maybe then lead to sales. But I think wife is definitely the foundation that you know what I mean. I wouldn't say I want to sell, but I'm not going to say no either because
Mm,
you know everyone has their price. But it's a case where I want that to be the sort of foundation, and I don't want wife it to sort of lose that identity that's been built. You know what I mean?
mm,
So I prefer to have that for life and even pass that down because I see
mm,
it more as it's more a message of okay, like someone who's come from where I come from looks how I look has been able to build this. You know what I mean? So I
mm,
see it more like that. So that's why I'd want to keep hold of that for as long as possible. But who knows? Once you get to a certain level, you know, what I mean, bigger
mm.
companies might come in and this and that. So we'll deal with that if it comes. You know what I mean?
And I'm guessing as an entrepreneur, I mean, based on even what you've just said to me now, you seem pretty tenacious. Are there any kind of key skills that you think entrepreneurs need to have, in their arsenal to really, I guess, go for this life and not just kind of crash and burn, so to speak?
Yeah, I think that resilience is definitely important, and I said, as I said, like having a certain upbringing helps with that because I feel like I have that quite naturally. So
Mm.
that definitely is a benefiting factor. Being strategic, being smart, knowing how to execute what you want. Um, yeah, I think it's good to have just understand your strengths and your skills. You know what I mean, and even like with your weaknesses, don't let that kind of dictate and cripple you because we all have things that we need to improve on. So I just try and make sure that okay, I'm leaning into my strengths and sort of hoping that that will then cover over the weak points.
Someone's put a question in saying, have you got any plans for the African continent?
Ah, for sure, like for sure. That's so when you said about like the goals, really I see I don't really see it that publicly, but like I want YFit to be the number one sportswear brand in Africa because
Okay.
that's home, and I see that as a actual, like as I said, self awareness is important. I see that as a viable goal. You know what I
Mm.
mean? I think obviously I still want to be able to have impact in the UK market, in the US market, but obviously Africa's home. So if I'm able to then build there and have, you know what I mean, the majority of the base there, then you know what I mean, I see that as the goal.
And where would you start? Would you start with your home place, Ghana, or would you start with somewhere like Nigeria that has the volume of people?
Um, it depends because I see, especially with the fitness scene, I think just from looking, I'd probably look at maybe Ghana or South Africa because I think that's where sort of the biggest fitness scene, just off of even having Fit for the Culture and who I've connected with through that. I'd probably start.
Not Nigeria, no.
Um, I need whoever the Nigerian
I'm just
follow,
joking.
like you
I'm
know what I mean,
just
the
joking.
influencers. They need to holler. They need to, you know what I mean. We should connect because obviously I see it as like I want the whole continent. You know what I mean. So
Sure.
like obviously right at the moment I've connected with Ghanaian influencers and athletes and South Africans as well. So that's probably where I would start and then expand from there.
Okay. And so being the number one, that means, as I was saying earlier, being like a sportswear mogul, essentially.
Yeah.
What kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? What kind of mindset do you think that takes?
I guess an ambitious one for sure. Because as I said, I haven't really seen anyone who looks like me do what I've done.
Mm.
So I guess it's trying to be innovative in that sense, but then also seeing that there are patterns and there are companies that have been successful and I can learn from those paths and those people and just try and follow their example basically.
Okay. Okay, great. Mark, thank you so much for talking to us. The hour is basically almost up. I just want to give you maybe like one final word to kind of, I guess, reach out to those who are thinking about entrepreneurship or aren't sure about it or maybe are thinking about it but don't know what the next step should be once they have an idea. What would be your final kind of tips, would you say?
Um, I'd say don't overthink. I'd say definitely go for it. Um, Execute and then adapt to the real life situations. So because I think a lot of people they theorize too much, if that makes sense, and
Mm.
when it's not actually happening, then you're thinking of ways to adapt before anything's actually really happened. So I'd say, you know what I mean, execute and then adapt as you know what I mean, let life teach you how to adapt and how to maneuver through that.
Okay, and I'm guessing that's something that you've had to do in
Yeah.
the last
Yeah, because as I
few
said, like I
years.
didn't have any like teaching or you know what I mean business experience before that, or I didn't go to you know what I mean university. I didn't study business or anything like that. I've literally just learned through doing and being on that journey.
Mm. Okay, Mark, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us as we discussed everything to do with entrepreneurship and adversity. Just to let you know, this is a bi weekly webinar. So the next one will be on the 13th of August. if my phone will work, I can actually get up who we're going to be talking to. One sec. It is the founder of the Black Curriculum. That is who we're going to be speaking to in 2 weeks' time. So I'm really looking forward to that. Mark, thank you so much again.
Thanks for having me.
Have a great day. I hope that everyone's been inspired by what Mark has talked about today. I've certainly been inspired. But see you again on the 13th of August.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.